referee that officiated the last two meetings between the two teams is the same referee as today. Do you know what he did? He dished out 9 and 11 cards respectively. So
happy Thursday, guys. Welcome to Stoppage Time. 3 big games across Europe this weekend. We normally go EPL, but quite a few of the Premier League games are canceled this weekend because of the FA Cup. But we are still going to cover one of them. And right at the top of the show, we're going to talk Liverpool, Man United. We're going to see how Liverpool bounces back from that draw against Man City, a game in which they thought they should have gotten a late penalty. Then we're heading over to Italy, Napoli and Inter Milan, the featured game this week in Italy. And then we're going to finish it off in Barcelona. I thought it was the El Clasico this weekend, but it's the other Madrid team playing, Atletico Madrid, fresh off a win over Inter Milan to advance into the quarterfinals of the Champions League, taking on Barcelona, who are also there. With me from WagerTalk.com, Nick Borman, Kevin Dolan, and Pavlos Ragaretos. Kev, I'm going to go to you first. Liverpool, Man United. I watched the game. I've seen the videos of what happened in that game against Man City and whether that should have been a penalty for a high danger kick in the box. I didn't think it was as high as Jurgen Klopp obviously thinks it is. But if we've learned nothing else, it is that VAR and some of the VAR decisions can be brutal at time for fan bases. Give me your thoughts on this game and that incident if you want to discuss it.
Yeah, VAR's definitely had an impact since it came into the game for sure. In terms of this game, not a whole pile to say just because, as you guys know, I rarely bet cup games in general. I think the only cup game that I bet on this year was that 1% on Everton to win the FA Cup back in October at 50-1, which I believe they went out against Fulham a couple of rounds ago. So that's one unit I won't see again. But even with that said, look, Liverpool, Manchester United, hard not to like goals in this one. We look at the FA Cup average of over 2.5 goals, which is already high enough. It's hitting 68% this year in the Cup. But United and Liverpool have dwarfed that number combined this season domestically, 75% towards the over in that regard, 70% towards both teams to score hit rate as well, compared against the FA Cup average of just 59%. So you can see in that regard, both of those regards, they're far outstripping both of these teams, the Cup average in terms of offense, that both teams to score and over. And it just goes to show you how these big teams generally set up for Cup competitions as a whole as well, especially, let's say, pre-semi-final stage, they just, everything's focused on the league, everything's focused on Europe. This kind of gets a second thought. So I think this is going to be an offensively heavy game. Both teams to score over 2.5 goals is going off pretty reasonable, minus 133, minus 135 in that ballpark. And I think that's more than a fair price here for Sunday's game.
All right. I like it. And I like that's one unit I'll never see again. Listen, man, if I keep eating pizza and pasta, I'm going to have a unit that I'll never see again. Nick, give me your thoughts on this Liverpool-Man United game. Last time these two teams played, United went to Liverpool with absolutely no desire, as I saw it, to play any type of football in that game, literally trying to bottle up Liverpool, and they did it, a scoreless draw in that one. What happens in this one?
Yeah, I mean, even if they go with that tactic again, I can't imagine it working. I mean, they allowed 34 shots. They created just 6. So eventually, no matter how much you try that, Inter Milan's a perfect example of that yesterday in the Champions League. It's too hard to do that in today's game. So I think that would be a bad game plan if that's what they're going to try. But I do agree with Kevin that goals probably is the way to go if you're looking at a total. I'll suggest a side, and that's just simply taking Liverpool. Obviously the Premier League and knockout matches like this Cup play out differently, but there is a discernible difference between the defenses on this field, and I'm just simply going to back the better one. If you look at the Premier League results, Liverpool, they rank 3rd defensively when looking at expected goals allowed and 2nd in actual goals, switching places with Man City. The Reds have also lost just twice this season. United, you mentioned that draw that they somehow were able to to steal in that first match, but I'm very concerned with how they're going to set up and what their tactics are going to be. I don't trust that they're going to make any of the right adjustments here. And, they're nowhere near the level of the top three teams in the Premier League. And the evidence to me really is just simply in their results, even at home. I mean, you got inexcusable home losses, Fulham, Bournemouth, Palace, even Galatasaray in the Champions League group stage. You got losses against Bayern and Man City. All right, those are more to be expected. But Liverpool is clearly more on that level. So United didn't score in either of those matches against Bayern and Man City. And Liverpool does tend to concede a little bit more often than they probably should, especially away from home. So there is a chance that United score here, but it's hard to imagine anything else but a Liverpool win. The price is very, very attractive. If this thing was minus 160, minus 170, I probably wouldn't be doing it, but minus 120 to minus 130 you can find everywhere right now, I think is very, very reasonable. And I'm just taking the better team and the better defense.
All right, Nick Borman of WagerTalk. Pavlos, you get the final word on this one. 8 yellows in the first game, first meeting. But again, that was a league game. This is a cup game. You look at Liverpool's schedule, and we always look at team schedules. They play today, Thursday, day of taping at home in Leg 2 against Sparta Prague. But I'm going to guess it's going to be a very big rotated squad, given the fact that they won away 5-1 in Leg 1. I don't think they're really worried about today's game. Give me your thoughts on Sunday's game.
Yeah, I think, this is one of the oldest rivalries in the EPL in England. And, Liverpool haven't always, they struggle in Manchester, no matter the season, no matter the roster. They won just 2 of the last 10 matches in this venue and won just 3 times in this venue in the last 15 years. Of course, this historical data, you shouldn't take them much into consideration, but it just goes to show that Manchester United, they transform into something different when they're hosting Liverpool, because again, this is one of the oldest rivalries in England. So I see goals here. I totally agree with what you guys said. Liverpool on the road, they kept just 6 clean sheets in 22 away matches, failed to score just once. I think this match starts at 1-1, meaning that both teams to score is a lock, if you will, in my eyes. And I think we'll see one more goal because, matches between the two sides, they usually produce goals. And this, it's a quarterfinal of the FA Cup, so it's a big deal. We might see some cards here, but I don't want to go anywhere near that. I think, Manchester United, they were lucky to beat Everton 2-0 in their last match. Both goals came from the penalty spot. Everton, had 23 shots on target. Not on target, 23 shots overall with 6 on target. I think Liverpool, as you said, Carmine, they do have a match on Thursday, but they're surely going to put all the youngsters in. They're going to protect their most valuable assets to keep them fresh for the weekend. Maybe they get like 20, 15 minutes just to keep them sharp. But, Manchester United's season is not that great. They're sitting 6th in the EPL. There is no guarantee that they'll play European soccer next season. This might be their last chance to get something out of this season. So I think they're going to fight. Defense hasn't been good. I think they're going to concede because their defense just, allowing 23 shots at home to Everton. Imagine what Liverpool are going to do when they come there. So again, this is a strange matchup, but I would be really surprised if there's very few goals here. I think there's going to be multiple goals, especially both teams scoring. So I like both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at minus 135. I think it's a fair price for what's about to transpire in this match.
All right, I like it. Pavlos Sagretos with the final word on Man United Liverpool. It's going to be a good game on Sunday indeed. It's a weird scheduling quirk because you look at it, and I'm not sure what else is planned for Liverpool, but after this game on the 17th, their next game that I'm seeing on their schedule isn't until the end of the month, the 30th or 31st. So I'm not sure if there may be an international break somewhere in between because the semifinals of the FA Cup aren't until I believe the 20th of April. So we'll see what transpires there, guys. We're gonna head to Italy for the next one. Napoli, Inter Milan. Kev, I'm gonna go to you first on this one. I'm not even sure whether you're going to be watching soccer on Sunday, football for Europeans, of course, because it is St. Paddy's Day. I know my friends are already planning a party on St. Paddy's Day. What are your plans? And tell me you got a promo code for St. Paddy's Day.
I do indeed, Carmine. Greatest week of the year, greatest day of the year, obviously, St. Patrick's Day on Sunday. Want to wish every one of our listeners a very blessed day. Obviously, go get drunk, have fun, throw insults at the Italians, all that good stuff in honour of the great man's day. And you're right, we got a promo up a WagerTalk for this week only. Paddy's 30, PADDYS 30, which gets you a full $30 off a 7-day all-access pass from yours truly. And we're riding really hot right now at WagerTalk. Number 3 across all sports the last 3 days. Number 1 in NBA last 3 and last 7 days as well. So, yeah, great time to jump on board and profit with us over the next week.
All right, good to hear. And I wish you obviously the best of luck. Now, Napoli, Inter Milan. Milan, fresh off of getting eliminated from the Champions League. Actually, both these teams have been eliminated from Champions League. Do we get an outright winner in this game on Sunday?
I do believe so. I do really like a play in this one. You know, Napoli have scored in 5 straight league games, after exiting the Champions League, heading into this one. You know, they put 6 past Sassuolo 3 weeks ago as well. So they've definitely been finding ways to score of late, but I really like the price here on Inter to win to 0 at plus 180 on Sunday. I think that's a big, big price here. You know, no one's kept more clean sheets at home this season in the league than Jan Sommer has. 9 clean sheets from 14. That obviously leads Inter to having the best clean sheet percentage in the league this season in Serie A as well, both overall and at home. And on the other end, and what really pushed me over the edge in terms of making this play as well was Napoli's performances on the road this season. Now, statistically speaking, Napoli have actually been slightly better away from home this year. I do believe they've got the worst home field edge in the whole of Serie A. They actually play better on the road. But in reality, you know, Napoli have failed to find the back of the net in 43% of all of their road games this season. You know, that's almost half, obviously. And, you know, those blanks, unsurprisingly, came against the very best teams in the league. You know, they couldn't score against AC Milan, couldn't score against Lazio, couldn't score against Roma, Juventus, and so on. And, you know, now they're about to face the best of those teams. So, you know, Inter have blanked Napoli in 2 straight meetings heading into this game. They blanked them the last time they played in this venue in the league as well, January of last year, 1-0. So I don't see much changing here. You know, both teams might be a little flat from the European adventures. And Inter have been absolutely outstanding defensively this campaign. So you're going to give me plus 180 on something they've already done, you know, 9 times out of 14 this season in both of the last head-to-head meetings against Napoli as well. You know, sign me up for a piece of that. You know, Inter to win to 0 for me. Plus 180. I do like that price.
All plus money, Kev. So hopefully that one gets there for you. Nick, I mentioned earlier about like scheduling, so I had a quick look. And yes, it is the playoffs for the Euros next Thursday. So hence the break, as a lot of players will be on international duty for their countries. Give me your thoughts, Napoli, Inter Milan.
I don't like Inter here at all. I mean, emotion is a huge part of this game, and they are that yesterday losing to Atletico the way they did. It's rough. I don't know how they're coming back from that this week, and I'm not going to touch them at all. In fact, I think it's a pretty good fade spot. This number has moved. It was moving before the game. It's moved already quickly after the game towards Napoli. I think a lot for that reason. I mean, really, the Scudetto's already locked up. Who cares at this point? They're let down. They're doing a lot of finger pointing, and there's a lot of critiquing going on right now. There's a lot of negative energy in that locker room and on that team, and I think that's going to be hard to bounce back from. And really, who gives a crap about this match? They could just coast the rest of this dang season, and it doesn't even matter. Napoli, on the other hand, yeah, they're eliminated too, but what were they really going to do in the Champions League? What they have now is a clear path, a clear channel to focus. It's a long road, don't get me wrong, because they are trailing, in the top 4 race with 2 teams between them. I think it's 7 points or something. So it's going to be tough. But I mean, it's all eggs in one basket. They got to stay focused. They got to come in here and play well. It doesn't always mean that's what's going to happen, but I just think there's, I'm not even going to get any data. I don't think the data matters here. I think this is purely an emotional letdown spot for Inter. With Napoli, the team that is going to scrap for everything they can, and you can get a full goal. I mean, minus 125. I think might have to start to pay for it now. Minus 130. It could be pushing minus 140 sooner rather than later. But I think it's worth it. I mean, that gives us a ton of protection if Inter do somehow win this match. But I certainly don't see Inter just coming in here and blitzing through Napoli. I would agree. I would have had agreed with Kevin probably had Inter won. Or if this match was maybe last weekend, but I don't know, man. I think it's just a very tough spot for Inter to get up and get ready and want to come out and play this game. So I'm just going to stay away from them. I think it's a good move to actually fade them and go Napoli here.
All right, Pavlos, you heard what Nick says. And yes, Inter has run away with the title. I think they only need 14 points from the remaining 10 games to lock up the Serie A title. But I think it's a foregone conclusion, as he mentioned. Thoughts on this one?
This is a typical, and I might go against Kevin a little bit here, but I think this is a typical match of both teams to score. Don't care who wins. Inter Milan, I had Atletico Madrid plus a quarter goal as a best bet yesterday in the Champions League. Atletico Madrid at home are a totally different beast, and the same goes for Inter Milan. When they play at home, they're just really, really hard to beat. But being 16 points up in the title race might give them some sense of security. They might not be as fired to play at 100%, but it's really unclear how they will react after dropping out of the Champions League. So Napoli, on the other hand, they've been scoring lately. Even though their defense just keeps bleeding goals, they've been scoring. And they had a really rough time trying to get a manager that understands the team and is able to squeeze out the best possible potential out of this team. They now got one. And here's the thing: Napoli are sitting 7th in the Serie A right now. If the league were to finish right now, they would not play European soccer next season. However, there's a very good chance that the Serie A produces a 5th Champions League spot for next season, and they're now just sitting 4 points outside the 5th spot. So Napoli have everything to play for. They're out of the cup, out of the Champions League. The league, the Serie A is the only thing that they have to fight for right now, and I think at least they can score at least a goal here. I thought of fading Inter Milan again, but I'm not that bold. And I think betting both teams to score is kind of a fade on Inter Milan because, as Kevin said, they have the best defense in the Serie A, a lot of clean sheets there. But I'm going with the motive here. And Inter Milan have little to play for. Again, they're 16 points ahead. Even if they somehow have a catastrophic final third of the season, I think they'll still win the Serie A, one way or the other. It's Napoli who are stuck between a rock and a hard place right now. They absolutely need a result here. Maybe even a draw would be good for them. I think they'll go all in for the win. I think at the bare minimum, both teams will get on the score sheet. Minus 135 is usually a good price for both teams to score, not a very good price when you have Inter at home. But I think Napoli, they have the motive here. They absolutely must climb the standings. And again, Inter Milan are probably going to deflate, I think, in the final third of the season. Maybe they win, but I just see Napoli scoring here. Give me both teams to score, minus 135. Don't care who wins.
Don't care who wins. I like to hear that, Pavlos. Pavlos, you got to have a promo for us, man. You're winning consistently in soccer. Last couple of years, extremely well. Tell us what you got going as far as promos.
I actually have 2 promo codes. The first one is SOC30, so Soccer 30. SOC30 gets you $50 off the 30-day all soccer package, and the other one is SOC365, so SOC365 gets you $400 off the 1-year all soccer package. You can get it for just $5.99, and we have some big plays loaded for the weekend, so make use of these promo codes because we're going to have a massive next couple of days. And I should say that, yes, there is an international break coming up, and I'll be attending Greece's match against Kazakhstan. It's played in Athens next week. I'm going to be there. for a chance to see Euro at Greece at the Euros exactly 20 years after we won it back in Portugal.
I remember that game against Portugal. Nobody thought they had a chance to win it, but they did. What a great time to be from Greece, Pavlos. Kev, we're going to go to the next game. Let's cue this up. Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, two teams that advanced into the quarterfinals of the Champions League to join Real Madrid, who are already there. Give me your thoughts on this one on weekend, on Sunday.
Yeah, I wrote an article for this game earlier in the week, actually, and I basically said this is a game where, you kind of contrast season-long form results. Those tell you one thing about this game, and underlying data and series history tell you something, completely different as to how this game should play out. We look on the surface here, and, Barcelona have scored in 26 of their 28 league fixtures this year. 77% of the road games we've seen both teams find the back of the net in as well. Some really heavy offensive stats there. And, when you turn over to look at Atletico Madrid, it's been a similar story, especially at home this season. Atletico, alongside Barcelona, are the only other team to have scored in every single home match they've played in this year. Every single one. They've averaged a massive 2.43 goals per game this season at home. 26 of the 34 goals have came from open play as well. So I can see why this line, is slanted towards the over here, currently at, over 2.75. But, series history, like I said, the underlying data, that just paints a very different picture here. And I'm in agreement with that. Barcelona, take away all the offensive stats. They own the best defensive XGA numbers in the league away from home this season. Atletico own the second best defensive XGA at home. So, that right there shows you how underappreciated both of these defenses really are this year. And even more important than that, look, has been their recent head-to-head history as well, especially at the Metropolitano in particular, also with all of the last 6 meetings between these two sides at this venue. All of them have seen 2 goals or fewer scored, and each of the last 4 have seen at least one of these two teams fail to find the back of the net as well. So data and series history, they go together like, Guinness and Tato for me. So give me a piece of the under 2.75 goals here at even money on Sunday. Risky play, obviously, when you look on the face of it in terms of how many goals these teams are scoring. But I think when you combine the two teams here, I think we see an under in this one. And I think at even money, especially, under 2.75 is the way to go.
All right. Nick, you get to rebut Kevin on this one. But first, man, you got to have a promo for us. And you've been killing MLS. You're even hotter than Lionel Messi right now as far as scoring in the MLS. So give us a promo and then give me your thoughts on Barcelona, Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, we are back to a profitable MLS season. Had a rough week 1, but last week was awesome. So we are back in the positive and going for 6 straight winning years there. Promo right now is for a 3-day soccer pass. Kicks 20. I do that 2-minute video every week where we preview 4 matches, and it's called 2-minute kick. So that's Kicks 20. It saves you $20 off the 3-day soccer pass. Normally it's $49, so now it's $29. We price one package at $29. So it's basically, buy one package, get the rest of the weekend free. So that's the promo going right now. And I too will have a pretty good slate going on this week. And there's several games I like as well.
And now, Nick, this is your chance to rebut Kevin on Barcelona, Atletico Madrid.
Well, this one isn't as black and white as it was on the intermatch, but I don't know how you guys feel. I mean, it's so ironic to me that we talk about the Italy matchup, which is the 2 teams that lost in the Champions League versus these 2 teams that are playing one another. Like, what are the chances that this is happening? So I'm going to kind of look into this game similarly to I did to that one. Where are the advantages coming off of those Champions League matchups? Obviously, both these teams won, so both teams are on a high. I think that the job and the emotions and the physical energy put into the matches to get the job done were quite a bit different. Barcelona raced out to a quick 2-goal lead on Napoli. They had the extra day of rest. They kind of cruise to that victory, if you will. Atletico, man, they had a fight and scrap, and kudos to them for pulling it off. They fell down 2 goals on aggregate. They pulled it back. They scored a late equalizer on aggregate to force extra time, right? So they had to play all of that, and then they got to go into penalties. So, I mean, there's a lot of energy that goes into doing something like that. And, for that reason alone, I don't know that I would put them as the favorites here. And getting Barcelona as a head start at plus a quarter of a goal, it just seems so tempting to me. Barcelona, they've been a team I've kind of avoided a lot this year. And it's because of their defense, right? It's not a defense that you're used to seeing from Barcelona. There was a stretch between December and January, 2-month stretch. It was 10 games. I mean, they were conceding to everyone. I think it was 24 goals in 10 games. They allowed 5 goals to Villarreal at one point. They were allowing nearly 2 expected goals per match. It was 1.78. So it was nothing of a caliber of a team that is where they are in the Champions League, a team that has a true chance to win anything. But here they are. But since then, they're allowing 0.81 expected goals per match. So they're playing much better defensively. They did have one match, maybe it was a fluke, where they allowed 3 goals to Granada, of all teams. But the other, they've allowed 4 goals, just 4 goals in their other 9 matches since that bad streak. So it does seem to me they've turned a corner defensively. And again, I just go back to there's got to be an edge here somewhere on coming off that Champions League. And I really think it's on the Barcelona side, and the fact that they don't have to win this match and we can cash on plus a quarter of a goal. It's only a half win on the draw, but still, I got to take that head start. So I'm on Barcelona here.
All right, Nick, I like that one. And Pavlos, Nick talked about Atletico's game, and they expended a ton of energy in that game, which was an emotional game, obviously not only for their fan base, but for the players. Penalty kicks to decide who moves on. As an Italian, I'm never a fan of penalty kicks, except for the Euros. Euro 2020 over at Wembley, I was a huge fan of penalty kicks and Donnarumma saving the final 3. But putting that aside, give me your thoughts on this game.
Okay, first thing that came to mind is cards. The referee that officiated the last 2 meetings between the 2 teams is the same referee as today. Do you know what he did? He dished out 9 and 11 cards respectively. So there are no card lines yet available in this match, but I'm definitely going to sprinkle a little bit. And the last time these 2 met in Madrid, Barcelona won by 1-0. And if you remember, it was that game where Sav and Torres, they engaged in a Greco-Roman wrestling at the end of the match. They both got red carded. It's just almost poetic the way that these 2 wrestled on the grass. But yeah, I think this match is an under. I like the under 2.75 goals here at even money. Atletico Madrid really extremely hard to beat at home. They only lost to Bilbao in the Copa del Rey. But in league matches, they're always very careful. And Barcelona, they're in somewhat of a transitional period right now. Xavi has already said that he's going to leave the team at the end of the season. They have a lot of injuries. It's true that their defense is bleeding goals left and right, but for whatever reason, matches between these 2 sides are always low scoring. In fact, 6 of last 7, regardless of venue, finished with either 0, 1, or 2 goals. So under 2.5 goals is 6-1 in the last 7, regardless of venue. And each of the last 6 matches in this venue were unders. So I gotta go with the under here. I think Atletico Madrid are gonna be a little bit, let's say, drunk after moving on to the Champions League quarterfinals. Barcelona, of course, they had an easier job against Napoli, but with both teams coming off such a short rest, I gotta believe that they're gonna be very careful in this match. And one other reason why I like the under here is that Barcelona are sitting 3rd with 61 points, right? Just 1 point behind Girona. Atletico Madrid at 4th with 55 points, 6 points behind Barcelona. So Barcelona, if they get a draw here, they're gonna keep Atletico Madrid 6 points behind them. It's Atletico Madrid who absolutely need a win here. Bilbao are just 2 points behind them. So if they lose, Barcelona and Bilbao beat Alaves, which is an easy match for them, Atletico Madrid might well find themselves outside of the top 4 spots. And I think Atletico Madrid, if they score an early goal, they're going to park the bus, start kicking everybody, and this will definitely end in an under. If Barcelona scored the first goal, it's probably going to be a different story. But I think this match has under written all over it, and at plus money, I have no shame in picking the under 2.75 goals.
All right, I like it, Pavlos. There you guys have it. Liverpool, Man United FA Cup game. Napoli, Inter Milan featured game in Italy this week between top team in Serie A and, of course, Napoli, Barcelona, Atletico, Madrid to close it out. Guys, before we get into our recap and to see what the panel has up for you guys this weekend over at WagerTalk, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button if you can. And of course, the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Tell us what your best bet is this weekend. If you have any questions or any ideas on what you want covered on future shows, drop it in the comment section and we'll try and answer that for you as well too. Kev, what do you got planned for this weekend for your clients at WagerTalk?
Well, usual story, Carmine. European soccer card will be loaded up overnight. NBA obviously daily as well. NBA has been so hot, like we said, number one last 3, number one last 7 days. We're actually the number one NBA profit leader at WagerTalk since 2018 on sides. NBA profit leader on sides since 2018 as well. So NBA has just been killing it. And obviously this weekend we got boxing, we got MLR rugby. So it's going to be a busy one. And just to remind everyone as well, use code PADDYS30 in honor of the big man himself, PADDYS30. Get your full $30 off a 7-day all-access pass. So, great time to jump on board.
All right. And guys, you got to support the Irishman. Come on, man. It's St. Paddy's Day. He sets up for an epic weekend of winners from Kevin. Nick, I was at the TFC game last weekend, undefeated in the league right now, 2 wins and a draw. Only 2 goals scored, but none conceded. Tell me you have some MLS plays for this weekend, and we'll have a look at your leans.
Yeah, I told you last week they're on pace to not allow a goal this season, and it continues. I do already have 3 plays in the MLS loaded up for this weekend's card, hoping to follow up a really good weekend last weekend. I mentioned the promo code we have going on for soccer right now. Before Kicks 20 3-day soccer pass is just $29, so that'll get you all through the weekend, including MLS. Happy holidays to you, Kevin, of course, and the Players' Championship Golf Tournament just underway. But the beauty of golf, you can get this package, where you can get the golf plays. You can bet it all the time. So outright plays and top 10 finishes, golf betting is live all 4 days during the tournament, after each round. So it's a unique sport in that way. Prices will obviously change, but we do have a good promo in golf as well. BOGO, buy one, get one from myself and Andy Lang. $99, 30 days of golf. It gets you now through the Masters. So great time to grab that as well.
Right. Best of luck with your plays, Pavlos. Let's have a look at your leans. And of course, let's hear what you've got going at WagerTalk.
I get some big plays in the MLS as well this weekend. A big 5% top bet and 2 4% best bets. I might add some more plays in the European League. We're running hot with 4 and 5% plays in the month of March, 9 and 1. And we won each of the last 6. So use that promo code that I gave you. SOC30 gets you $50 off the 30-day L soccer. And SOC365 gets you $400 off the 1-year all soccer access, and you're gonna get all the 5%, all the 4%, all the futures. We got the Euro coming up, the Copa Libertadores, the Copa America, so it's gonna be a heavy betting summer, guys. Lock me up, and we're gonna make some money this year.
All right, love to hear it. There you have it, guys. 3 of the best in the industry, and not just in football, European football, soccer in North America, but other sports as well too. You can find them all over at WagerTalk. Take advantage of those promos. Save a few bucks and make a few bucks at the same time. We're off next week because of the international break, of course, but we'll be back the following week with a ton of action. So tune in, guys. For myself, Kevin, Nick, and Pavlos, this is Stoppage Time. Thanks for tuning in, and good luck with your wagers.